Let us create a new agent using the generative AI framework. The framework allows creating 3 different types of agents with varying degree of complexity. The just instruct type of agents are simple, prompt engineered agents that do our bidding as instructed. They are typically good for simple language tasks that largely depend on general language capabilities. They have a relatively simple architecture, and most models should be able to support these kinds of agents. Next, we have knowledge grounded agents. These enable retrieval augmented generation. Along with instructions, these agents may be given an arbitrary number of content files, policy files, etc. And during each interaction, these agents will be searching the files for relevant information and then generate an appropriate response to what the user is asking. Once again, these are relatively simple architecture-based agents, and most of the models should be able to support these. And finally, we have these agents with tools. So you may configure these agents with tools specialized for business tasks and instruct them on how to orchestrate a conversation using these tools. The LLM itself here will decide the tools to call, collect the necessary information for the tool from the user. These agents are super powerful. However, they do need a powerful model with function call support to work effectively. In this exercise, we are going to create a Blue Points transfer agent from scratch. Let us begin by naming Blue Points transfer. So we've named our agent. Now let us specify instructions. So here, I'm instructing my agent to tell it that it's an agent that helps users appreciate other employees by giving them blue points. I explain it blue points, that it's an internal currency that allows employees to buy gifts from organizations, online gift shops. I also give it a sample of what kind of stuff you can buy using blue points. So for 1,000 blue points, you can get items such as coffee machine, toaster oven, and a tote bag. And then I describe the process in here. So to facilitate Blue Point transfer process, I tell it that you must make sure that user indeed has a current positive balance of Blue Points. Further, you must collect from user name of the employee to whom to transfer, and it must be validated by looking up for the employee. And during the lookup, if we get one or more results, we should ask the user to select one or confirm. And to help users select or confirm, it should present their full name and email to the user. And if the lookup yields no result, then it should let the user know that target employee does not exist. And the second input it must collect is the number of blue points to transfer. So it must ensure that this is less than or equal to user's current blue points balance. And finally, it must make the blue point transfer call using the target employee ID and the number of blue points. Apart from instructions, we'll select GPT-4, a powerful model with function call support to orchestrate our agent. Next, we need to add the tools using which our agent will actually do things or validate user input. Very often, we either need to create the tool's API from scratch, or even when the APIs are really available, we may need to wrap around them to use them in a certain fashion. So in this exercise, we'll create the tools from scratch. Robocop provides a nice framework for programming, testing, and deploying tools and plugins that may be used by LLM agents. It provides plugins to popular programming IDEs like VS Code. I'm going to use it to create and deploy our tools for Blue Point transfer. We'll begin by creating an actions package. I'm going to say that I'm going to use child folder in the workspace. And then we are going to name our package. Now it has created Blue Points transfer. Let's go back to it, refresh this. And here we can see the package content and it has an actions.py, which it has seeded with an existing template. I'm going to start by removing this entirely, save it, and then refresh this again. So at this point in time, our package doesn't have anything in it. Let's begin with documenting our objective and then specifying the basic dependencies needed. Let's now craft some mock data for our dev and test. Let's now specify our simple blue points balance tool. And now the employee lookup tool. Okay, and finally the actual blue points transfer tool. Let's make sure that we have specified all the dependencies in the package descriptor as well. Let's just deploy our tools package straight to the cloud. We should first go inside our package. And from here, we're going to just run action server. We add this -- expose to indicate that we should straight deploy this, not just locally, but send it over to the cloud and get the public URL and the API key for it. So here it's giving us a public URL at which these tools are available, along with an API authorization key, using which we should be able to use the tools. Now that we have our tools package available for use, let's go back to our agent definition and add the tools package to it. We'll go to the tools area here, select action server by Robocop, specify the URL that we just copied from there, as well as the API key. And we'll now just go ahead and save our agent. And we're now good to use our agent. Let's try it out. I'll begin by saying, give 1,000 blue points to Jim. And here we see it. We see our agent orchestrating to see that it should first use blue points balance. It makes that call. Tool returns 1,500 as the balance. Then it realizes that it got an employee name, Kim. Oh, I actually meant Jim. Let me correct that. And then it did a lookup, and it got from the lookup the results which are available in here. And it's listing out that it found those employees, but I really mistyped. So sorry for the spello. I meant Jim. When we say this, it repairs what we provided as the name. It again does a lookup, gets a different set of results in here, and it's presenting those results for us to make a selection in here. Before we make a selection, let me also ask it, what can you get for 1,000 blue points? So because we did give our agent an inkling of what blue points mean, what you can get, etc. So from those instructions, it's responding with that, and then it is getting back to asking us to proceed with 1,000 blue points to one of the gyms in here, and if yes, then which one? So let me say 1,200 blue points to Jim Platt. So at this point, it recognizes that it has everything, and it is now using Transfer Blue Points API, passing it the employee with full details and the amount, which it corrected automatically to 1,200 because that's what we said in here. And it made the Transfer Blue Point call, and it responded back with a success message. and it is telling us that it did the transfer. So one small thing in our previous conversation, when it listed the employees with the name Jim to us, it wasn't really visible. We can easily just have instruct our agent to make that display to whatever we want it to. So let's just go ahead and try that out. So I'm going to go back to our agent definition and edit it. So here are the instructions. One of the things that we said was to help users select and confirm, you should present their full name and email. We could add here something like, for a clear display, let's use a table for this. And let's show the name. Let's show the full name in bold. And let's just, rest of the stuff remains the same. Let us just save this and again have a conversation with our agent. Let me say transfer 500 blue points to Jim. It'll do same blue point balance, then look up, and now present the information to us. And now we can see that by a very simple natural language instruction, it has adapted its display of information to us. It displayed this in a tabular format as well as it made the full name up in bold.